A decade of revolution, as well as a change in music, politics, fashion, and so much more. The 1960s was a revolutionary time affecting everyone in the whole entire world. Hey Cougars, I'm Nolan, and welcome back to CVTV. CVTV starts now. By now, I think everyone knows the dress code, but just in case, make sure that you're wearing the correct colored grid shirt, a belt, your shirt tucked in, shoelaces, no. By now, I think everyone knows the dress code, but just in case, make sure that you're wearing the correct colored grid shirt, your shirt tucked in, a belt, and if you're wearing a jacket or hoodie of some sort, make sure that it is LHMS or zip up. Speaking of clothes, Speaking of footwear, the fashion in the 1960s was very. Speaking of how to dress, the people in the 1960s were super into fashion. From floppy hats to miniskirts, you saw it, you name it. You name it, you saw it. Well, enough for me. Let's go over to Tia to tell more about the fashion of the 1960s. Who's filming? Oh.
I had to go borrow this from Gigi.
Speaking of clothes, the people of the 1960s were super into fashion. From miniskirts to floppy hats, you name it, you saw it. Well, enough from me. Let's go over to Tia to tell more about this topic.
Women's 1960 fashion was an extreme style from the start to the end. In the beginning of the decade, women wore tailored dresses and white pearls, and by the middle, women were putting little to no effort into what they wore. What's up, Cougars? I'm Tia, and today I'll be telling you all about 1960s fashion. This decade consisted of, in the early parts, button-down shirts, turtlenecks. Oh my gosh. During this decade, in the early parts, button-down shirts. This decade consisted of button-down shirts, turtlenecks. This decade consisted of button-down shirts, turtlenecks, chunky knit sweaters for casual fits, low heels, flats, boots, and shoes made of vinyl in the early parts.
Well, you're like, wait. Okay.
During this mid-part, short bobbed hair or long straight hairstyles. This is hard. During the late part of this decade, it consisted of mini skirts or pencil skirts in plaid, pop art jewelry, hippie fashion such as blue jeans and ethnic clothing. Little to no effort was bleh. Dang it, Okay, ready? 1960s fashion was an extreme style from the start to the end. Alyssa, the camera's moving.
Good.
In the late part of the decade, clothing consisted of hippie fashion, which is blue jeans and ethnic clothing, pop art jewelry, mini skirts and pencil skirts in plaid. From the debut of the mini skirt to the mod-inspired styles, the 1960s were known for breaking fashion trends. Well, Cougars, I hope you learned a little bit more about the 1960s fashion. I'm Tia reporting for CVTV.
You gotta say the word of it.
But I don't have it.
Make one up.
I'm gonna make a graphic, and then you can put that graphic over it.
Stop moving.
Everyone thinks of the 1960s as a time to party and groove on, but not many people know about what happened during this historical time era. Well, let's go over to Emma Taylor to learn more information about this topic.
We want no school. Sorry. Ow!
Uncircle what you circle.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, ready? Oh, you didn't know that protesting became popular in the 60s,
It was one of the many things that happened during that era,
along with revolutionary change?
and political movements.
Go grab like the actual
Backstage door.
the way that you feel. Turn it red. Emma.
Are what lights on?
No, we want no wages. We want.
Oh, sorry. Oh, we should say that together.
Oh,
Sorry, Cougars. We were just busy. Come on, ready?
That's cringy.
3, 2. Oh, sorry, Cougars. We want no school. We want.
Okay.
There we go.
We want no school. We want.
You better go if I don't say it.
2.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Look at the cord. Twist the other way. Emma, you dropped your pom-pom. Get your life together.
We want no.
School. Oh, sorry, Cougars. We were just busy protesting.
The 60s was a decade when hundreds of thousands. Okay. Oh my gosh, I got this. Okay, it's fine. Okay. The 60s was a decade when hundreds of thousands of ordinary Americans gave new life to the nation's democratic ideas.
It started political change between blacks and whites.
Okay.
Even if I take this walk alone.
Have you ever seen the
The one where it's like the cosplayers and
3.
I don't know.
Is that a song you play?
tried, but I couldn't help it. In acapella.
I had a feeling that you never felt it.
Okay, are you ready?
So thanks.
I really hope that goes in the bloopers.
No.
So the whole school can see.
I'm recording.
Oh. No, you weren't.
I am.
Well, clearly the 60s really was a time of change.
But we have to get back to protesting for what we believe in.
I'm Taylor,
And I'm Emma.
reporting for CVTV.
The math problem of the day is find the square root of 16. Alright, the answer to the math problem of the day is 4.
3.
2. Music back then, compared to now, is a whole different genre. Many of the artists in the 1960s brought a new turn to what music actually is. Now let's go over to Nalani to show some of the most famous music pieces of all time in the 1960s.
Ew. Can you hear it? I can hear it. From the headphones, I can hear it. You can hear it? I hear it.
The top musicians of the 1960s, starting at number 5, is Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley is one of the most significant cultural icons of the 20th century, referring to as the King of Rock and Roll, or simply just the King. And at number 4 is the Beach Boys. The original lineup consisted of Brian, Dennis, Carl, Mike, and Al. Okay. The music of the 60s was pretty much experimenting with sound in the studio and making a huge impact for the 21st century. At number 3 is I forgot what I was going to say. At number 3 is the first stable lineup of the Rolling Stones, consisting of the band leader Brian Jones, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Bill Wyman, and Charlie Watts. Bob Dylan is an American singer-songwriter, author, and visual arts who has been a major figure in the industry for more than 50 years.
Is the pillow okay?
Who cares?
I know, she might be coming.
Yeah, that can be more deadly than coronavirus. At number 1 is the Beatles, consisting of John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, regarded as the most influential band of all time. Spread peace and love. I'm Nalani, grooving my way out of CVTV. That sounded so retarded. Spread peace and love. I'm not doing that. That's so embarrassing. That's all the time I have for today, Cougars. I'm Nalani, grooving my way out of CVTV.
Of the 1960s revolutionaries. The decade of the 1960s revolutionary. The decade of the 1960s revolutionized some of the most important aspects of history. Well, Cougars, that's all I have for today, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. I'm Nolan, signing off of CVTV.